Welcome to the Thrillers and Killers podcast with Doug, Aaron, Brianna, and Jacob.
That's right. I'm back, baby.
We actually have the whole crew back together this time.
We got the whole crew.
I guess for the first time.
So pretty much, I mean, we're reviewing an absolute cinematic masterpiece as usual, Malignant. This is a 10 out of 10 movie confirmed. Directed by James Wan, Annabelle Wallace. Sorry, directed by James Wan only. Starring Annabelle Wallace, Maddie Hassan, and George Young.
Explain to me how Hassin would be Hassoon.
It's Finnish.
Okay. James Wan of Saw and Conjuring fame. This movie is pretty much, I think, just like, hey, Warner Brothers, I know I made you guys like a gajillion dollars on 2 separate franchises. Can I just do what I want? And they were like, yeah, here's some money, sure.
Yeah, let me just make some weird ass fucking movie.
I think that's pretty much the plan.
Yeah. Like this is a very different style of like just.
Well, the style they're going for, it's I believe the modern giallo is what I've heard it called. I don't know if you guys know what giallo is, but it's
Nope, not at all.
basically, I believe the word it's yellow in Italian because it was like originally they were like these little paperback books sold in Italy. They were like crime thriller novels, and it just started these called giallo, and then they got made into movies, and it got really
Gotcha.
popular in like the 60s and 70s, and ever since then it's just kind of been a thing. And I highly doubt Doug actually likes this style.
Yeah, probably not.
So anyways, we got an IMDb rating of 6.3 out of 10 on 68,000 reviews.
Sheesh.
From what I've heard, this movie is like, you either hate it or you like
love
it.
Yeah.
And that there's really no in between.
4.5% of people gave it a 1-star review, and the other 95.5% of people were on fucking crack cocaine when they watched this movie.
It kind of feels like James Wan was on crack cocaine while he was making this movie.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like people were trying to make some money during COVID, and they were like, "Hey, James Wan, you directed one good movie 20 years ago.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What we're gonna do?
He literally made Conjuring and Insidious.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna post that you directed Saw on the trailer, and we're gonna fucking ship it.
You realize Conjuring is the highest grossing horror franchise of all time, right?
Well, that doesn't make it good.
No, but he is an accomplished director. Let's not pretend like he's not. He's probably the most influential horror director possibly ever, but at least in this fucking century. So I don't agree with like, let's just make something weird. I think, like I said earlier, I think it's just he wanted to make a giallo movie, and he had been so successful before, they let him do it. And I mean, he co-wrote it with his wife, which I don't know if you guys know, but his wife there's a character in this movie, the little forensic girl that runs around and like picks up evidence and has the hot for like the main detective dude. That's his wife.
Yeah.
She co-wrote the movie with them.
Nice.
I was wondering why that useless fucking character was given screen time for like 2 scenes. Huh.
It's funny that she plays a character who has like the hots for the main dude too. You
know what she is, bro? She's literally M. Night Shyamalan in Old. Only somehow less relevant.
I don't know. In this one, she has a couple like exposition lines.
We're just gonna start talking about the lines now.
I mean, she's
the
at least
worst dialogue I've ever
Well, it's on
heard
purpose.
in a movie.
Dude,
I
this
know, but
movie's
that's
very.
wait, stop. I understand it's on purpose. When we were watching the movie, didn't I say I know they did it purposely this way, but it still fucking sucks. It's trash.
I mean, yes,
You did say that.
it's not for everybody.
Not to mention, I, pretty much predicted the whole movie like 30 minutes in. True or false?
Confirmed.
So okay.
I mean,
But,
it's all over it.
I mean, the movie is just
Yeah.
trash, fellas. It's terrible. But okay,
This-
proceed.
This movie's
don't think
very
it's
camp
trash.
in the very beginning.
Oh yeah, it definitely is supposed to be campy. It's supposed to be kind of cheesy. It's supposed to be like overly dramatic and kind of
Like old 80s comedy horror kind of shit.
and I mean, I think it fucking hits, dude.
Oh, yeah.
On the rewatch, because like we saw this in theaters, Jacob and I did, and I think we both left the theater kind of like, it was kind of weird, but it was okay. I liked it.
Yeah.
But knowing more about it on the rewatch, I actually really liked it. It's fun and different.
Yeah.
And people
Gabriel's
die.
a fucking badass. Gabriel's a badass motherfucker, dude.
The budget, $40 million, by the way, and only made $34 million in the box office. I mean, it came out mid-pandemic.
That and also, it was also streamed on opening day on HBO Max.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's fucking ruined movies, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Any other pre-thoughts, Brianna? Anything?
The girl that you're talking about that is his wife looked really young. I didn't know that. I don't know how old she is, but I feel like when she was on screen, I was like, this girl looks like 15.
I think he's pretty young too. I think.
How is he that young and has produced all these movies? That doesn't make any sense.
I'll look up how old he is real quick, but
He was born in
I mean, he doesn't-
77,
He doesn't
so
look
he's
super
34.
old, but she looks super young. But some people just have a young
he's
face.
44.
Oh,
44.
44.
How
My
old?
math
How old is
sucks.
his wife?
She was born. She's 34. She was born in 87.
Okay, not that bad.
I mean, just look at this absolute list of definitely good movies that he's directed.
I'm not the biggest fan of either Saw or The Conjuring, but I think it's ignorant to think that they aren't good.
Yeah.
They're literally all terrible.
But they're not.
That's your opinion.
They're not though. That's the whole thing. Is like you might not like them, and I don't like them, but they're not terrible. Conjuring essentially established an entire subgenre of horror. Saw did too. Saw and Conjuring are two completely different genres of horror movies that he established. They don't get that because you make shitty movies. I'm sorry.
The original Saw was actually good, though.
I mean, I don't like it, but that doesn't mean I don't think it's not good. Neither of those movies are my type of horror movie. I'm just going to be straight up and honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of either of them, but I'm not going to pretend like they're not good movies.
All right, do we want to go ahead and just jump into the
I
movie?
refuse.
Yep, send it.
All right. Well, it opens in 1993 at this research facility. It looks like a goddamn castle. And you have like a weird... It's like a camera recording of this woman named Dr. Weaver, and she just gives you an exposition on a patient named Gabriel and talking about how he's strong and some kind of like telepathic electricity thing going on here. And she gets interrupted because they're like, yo, Dr. Weaver, which is her name, Gabriel is breaking out or some shit. So she runs in there and everybody gets fucked up going in that room. And one of the cop tries to shoot him with a fucking tranq dart and kills the cop. So she picks up the gun. Eventually she gets him sedated with like a fucking, basically it's a train gun, right?
Yeah.
And you get to see through like plastic, I don't know, wall looking thing. It's like a
Yeah, it's
butcher
like
shop thing.
Yeah, like a little like plastic kind of like shower curtain looking thing.
You get to see this weird like skeleton looking thing. It's weird. You don't get a whole lot of it. And it fucking talks to the radio. And yeah, and then Dr. Weaver says her famous line, "Time to cut out the cancer," and you get title card. And then it actually has a really long credit scene, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it jumps to present day with a pregnant woman, pregnant Maddie,
Yeah, Madison Lake is her name.
and she's pregnant as fuck. She rolls up to a house, and it's like a classic James Wan house. It looks like it belongs in the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, true.
You never
And
buy a house like that
it looks haunted
out in
just
the
from the
middle of
outside.
nowhere. I know. You
Well,
know,
that's
like
I couldn't tell. Okay, you can see the neighbors' houses and stuff
not
at some
really.
points, and then
Oh
later
yeah.
in the movie they say that they like found her in her house. The cops did because the neighbors called and reported that somebody was screaming. So I'm like, "Who the fuck is this house at? Like, does she have neighbors or not?"
At one point, I feel like she has.
In the beginning of the movie, in the scenes where it's dark, they like intentionally make it to where you can't see the other houses, but then when they go to her house when the sun's out, there's other houses literally like right fucking next to it. These people don't even have yards. So I mean the movie just sucks. So proceed.
How does that make the movie suck?
Just proceed.
Explain to me how that makes the movie suck.
That's just a factor.
How?
Just the overall shitness of it is just trash.
What?
I think Doug's just talking out of his ass right now.
I know, it's crazy.
So I guess that's something to say about the directing. That at some points you don't know if there's neighbors or not. Or initially, I thought there were no neighbors, but then yeah, as the movie went on, I was like, wait, there are neighbors. When it first like pans into the house, though, I'm like, you can't live in a house like that. It's haunted.
At night?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's clearly some haunted shit.
And I almost think he is like
Well-
maybe not parodying himself, but I think he is like establishing early on that like, oh yeah, this is a James Wan movie. It looks like a Conjuring movie right now.
Yeah.
The scene that this part wherever Gabriel's sitting on the couch and the lights turn off and then he's not there anymore, it cuts to like the corner of the room and you can see on the left side you can see like the staircase going up, and on the right side it's a really deep shot going back into like the kitchen and like I guess it's a mudroom area back there. And that's all over The Conjuring. That's like what it does. Is it establishes these really deep shots and you never know where the scare is coming from. And I think he's just establishing James Wan, you know? You know what it is. And just to continue with this, Gabriel shows up and it's hard to explain, but the dude ends up with a snapped neck. And then Maddie comes down and she kind of like gets chased away by this figure. You don't know it yet, but it's Gabriel.
Honestly, I wasn't that sad about the husband's death. I'm just gonna say it.
He was a piece of shit.
Yeah, after he like pushed her into the wall, and then it's like, I'm getting better. Well, are you getting better though?
And
As soon as he did that, I was like, all right, whatever bad person or bad entity is in this movie, you can go ahead and take him. I'm good.
Also, whenever because he's like basically establishing she's had a bunch of miscarriages, and he like blames her for it.
Yeah,
I think his exact line is like, "How many times do I have to watch my kids die inside of you?" And then he like jabs her stomach with his finger, and it makes a really squishy sound. And
yeah.
then he hits her against the
I was not sad over his death.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's really gross. Like his neck is fucked.
I mean, if I was him, as soon as the refrigerator door would have opened, I would have been trying to get out. I wouldn't be trying to investigate stuff. Like,
Yeah,
blender
well,
turns on. Okay.
That guy definitely doesn't turn enough lights on, dude. Blender comes on, refrigerator door opens, all the lights are going on. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm turning them all on.
Oh, I'm turning them on and I'm running out. Yeah. I'm not staying in the house.
The cops roll up after that. Like I said earlier, somebody calls them because they heard screaming. They heard Maddie screaming. And that's when you get to see this dude's head backwards. It's pretty cool. And
she's in the hospital.
She's in the hospital, and they go, and the detective tries to go talk to him. What's his name? Detective K?
Keiko, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keiko or something like that.
Keiko.
Shaw is his last name.
Koa Shaw. That sounds right. They call him
But
Detective K a lot.
yeah.
The detective comes by and tries to talk to
Kicked out.
Maddie. But her sister Sydney is in the
Mhm.
hospital with her, like visiting her, and she's like Maddie's basically in a trance. She won't say anything. She won't do anything. And the sister, the detective tells the sister that she's had 3 miscarriages in the past couple years, and the sister is like, "I had no idea. Her husband Derek kept us apart. Like I had no clue that this was even happening." So she's been kind of.
This episode of Thrillers and Killers is brought to you by Anchor.
If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, it's totally free.
Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
The forensics team telling them that they didn't find any fingerprints on the thing, but all of the like hand markings on the dude are upside down, which is kind of cool.
Kind of weird.
When I first saw it, I thought at this point I thought it was like Ghost. Just knowing who this is directing it, and like after the first scene, I thought it was like a ghost or some shit.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 weeks later. Maddie decides to go home, and Sydney's trying to stay with her.
Wait, did you say that she lost the child?
Oh, I don't know if I did, but she definitely did.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I'm out. I'm back up to the speed. So 2 weeks later, or whatever time frame, she decides to go home. No, 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 no. Me, I'd be burning the house down. No, 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 no. Like whether we thought it was a ghost that attacked me, a human, a demon, like, no, I'm not going back to that house. No,
Well,
absolutely not.
especially at that night, whenever she sees the fucking figure in the middle of the street, and then she like runs around and tries to lock everything, but the door's open. Like hell no.
She's like, it's taken everything from. Okay, well, first of all, it did you a favor by getting rid of your husband. Just saying. Yeah, it did take away your baby. That house ain't that special. You can go ahead and move on. Like, I mean, I guess it didn't really matter if she went home or not, but
Yeah,
I didn't
I'm not.
know for
I'm not
sure
going
and
back.
stuff. I'm not going back to that house, especially not alone.
And like I said, after the first night when the figure shows up and the door's open, I'm fucking calling somebody right there.
Get
It
me a
ain't happening.
hotel.
There is right here after she runs and closes the door. There is a really cool shot of it's like above her, and it follows. It's a tracking shot through the house, and as she runs through the house, you see it from above, like the rooms, and then
Yeah.
the rooms on the upstairs are still there. So when she goes on the first floor below a room that is existing on the second floor, you only see the second floor room. It's really cool. I'm assuming that's practical, and they built this camera on a track above a set and just kind of tracked her around. It's pretty dope.
At some point, her sister comes over.
Yeah, it was right after this. The sister rolls up and all the doors are boarded up, and I guess she decided to put boards on all the windows and stuff. So she has to crawl up to the second floor, and she is standing up there looking at this fucking hole in the wall from her skull that her husband put in the wall with her, and she, sister climbs up there, and then at this point, Maddie reveals that she's adopted. Sydney's not her real sister; it's her adopted sister.
You would have thought by the look at her eyes when she told Sydney that she was adopted that the news was like, I have 5 days to live or something.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like,
it's
what kind of reaction? Like, if somebody was like, if my brother or whatever was like, hey, I'm adopted, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, my eyes aren't going to get all big and I'm not going to get scared. That was a
I
weird
think that's
reaction
just
to me.
I think it's just part of the enhanced, like, part of, like, a lot of the interactions in this movie are over the top dramatic, and I think that's on purpose. Like these movies, these giallo movies, are known for being over the top dramatic. So I think that is just him doing that, which I don't
I'm
mind
gonna
it, but
imagine
it.
imagine like telling somebody, like even if it is your sister or whatever, something so personal like that, and that's their reaction. Like I'd be like, all
I
right, get out
mean,
of my house. Let me stay in my haunted house and whatever.
there it cuts now to like some random lady. This is after, by the way. There's this dope ass Pixies song cover of "Where Are You? Where's My Mind." It's dope as fuck. It's apparently a real song. So like, there's a cover out there you can listen to that James Wan heard and was like, "That sounds pretty cool," and put it in my movie.
Yeah, I
So he
dig
did,
this. Put it in there.
because it's not credited to the composer of this movie. Like, it's not on his soundtrack. This is just a song. And it cuts to this woman in like the Seattle underground doing a tour, and she gets on their tour, and everybody leaves, and the lights start flickering and shit. And this is another one of those shots where like it looks down the tunnel of this little underground place, and it is just so deep, man. You can see so far down this dark ass tunnel, and it just scary. But she unplugs the lights, and she starts hearing like rattling and shit down in the tunnel, so she starts going down there. It's like a really slow zoom in of her walking down the tunnel too. Like it takes a long time. It's a nice slow zoom, really builds attention, and nothing really happens. She runs away and tries to plug the lights back in. And when she plugs the lights back in, nobody's in the tunnel, so you're like, oh, okay, whatever. And it does like the pan up, and Gabriel is on the ceiling, and he like jumps down on top of her, and presumably kidnaps her, because she next scene is she wakes up in like this industrial attic looking thing,
Looks
tied
like
up.
he ate her at first.
Yeah. Gabriel, when she's tied up, tells her through the radio. He can talk, like established in the beginning. He can talk through the radio, and so it basically says Dr. Weaver's next on the hit list. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't he call her? Like, fuck that.
That's
I got.
that's the other thing. If the number says unknown, I'm not answering it.
I mean, you can never talk to Gabriel if you just don't answer the phone, because he calls
Yeah.
a couple times during this movie.
Yeah.
It cuts to Maddie doing some laundry, and the lights are flicking around. And right as she's coming down the fucking stairs, something like runs across the stairs, like at the bottom of the stairs.
My heart was beating
Weird.
a little fast.
I don't know. It, for whatever reason, it didn't like register in my brain that it was a person. I thought it was something else. But it was somebody they ran past. So she goes down there, and she continues to do the laundry, I guess, and she goes to put it in, and then she pulls out the washing machine, and she looks over, and like through the washing machine door, she sees Dr. Weaver, and so she freaks out, which you would do, and she like falls backwards, and Dr. Weaver yells at her to get out of her house, and she's like, "Hey, this is my house, G." And then Gabriel shows up, and it does this really cool like 360 camera shot of like the environment around her melting into Dr. Weaver's house. So she's now there, not in her own house. I thought it was a really good effect.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest washing machine scene I've ever seen.
Oh,
She
is
got
it
pretty
now?
deep in there, dude. I thought she was gonna get stuck. But then after a bit of a scuffle, Gabriel kills the fuck out of this lady with like a little trophy award that Dr. Weaver had. This movie does not shy away from the kills.
Yeah, like gory style, just fucking nasty fucking kills.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The detectives, they find Dr. Weaver, and they basically conclude it's the same guy somehow. I don't know how they know.
Yeah, but didn't one of the detectives in the beginning was like, her husband was abusive. It was her. And now they're like, it's the same guy. So wouldn't that mean that it's her?
I think they were just saying in the beginning, like, she's a suspect, because it was our normal detective. He says some shit like, "Oh, her husband was abusive," and then the woman's like, "Oh, so there was a motive for her." I don't think they ever are like, "Oh yeah, like it was her."
Okay. Okay.
She is a suspect throughout this entire time, though. I think the detectives. This will get your cameo for James Wan's wife. She's there. She was already in the first scene, I guess, but
Yeah,
she's there.
she was at the house.
Yeah,
I thought she could be like a cool character, possibly. You know,
the
when she first came in the movie, but then it's like, oh, I don't know why she's
abandon
actually.
that really quick.
I don't know why she's actually in the movie.
They figure out whatever the Weaver was murdered with, like part of it's missing.
Yeah, they get the what is the base of the trophy thing,
Yeah.
but they don't recover like the actual trophy thing. That's because Gabriel takes it back and makes this dope ass knife out of it, and that's his weapon of choice.
His murder weapon, yeah. His signature.
Then it cuts to another dude now talking on the phone about Dr. Weaver. I don't think he ever says her name, but it's about her getting murdered. And as he turns around, there's like puddles on the ground from this window that is now open. He follows it. It's another really good like depth shot. He's looking into this closet, and it's a black ass closet, and you can't see into it. But there's nothing in it. Which now that I'm realizing, every time he was doing this, there was nothing there. Because Gabriel's not in the closet, he wasn't in the kitchen, and he wasn't in the tunnel. Or we didn't see him.
How is this motherfucker teleporting?
Good question, because we find out this is a bit of a spoiler, but later, like he's not like supernatural like that. Like he isn't a ghost.
Oh,
So
he can control the radio. He's a little bit supernatural.
he's at least a bit, but he can't fucking teleport. Or at least if he can.
Apparently, he can do some abnormal stuff. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like when him and
I'm guessing he's on the ceiling.
Keiko were going at it.
I'm guessing like at this point he's on the ceiling. The puddles on the floor are from him like dripping from the ceiling. I'm
But they
guessing
lead
he's on
into
the
the
ceiling of the
closet.
tunnel. Yeah, I'm guessing he's on like the closet ceiling, and then he like comes out of the closet
But you said
ceiling.
he was never in the closet.
He's
Well, I mean, we don't see it.
Spider-Man.
He's on the ceiling in that tunnel.
Spider-Man confirmed.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
that's the new Spider-Man movie. Then it cuts underneath the bed. You get like a feet fake out. Those are also from The Conjuring, where it's a shot underneath the bed. And you see somebody's feet, and something would reach out and grab it. Nothing happens, and eventually it cuts back to Maddie in bed, and she rolls over, and she's now asleep next to this dude. So she rolls over, and he's next to her, and Gabriel like pops up behind her, and you get that melty thing again, which is pretty cool. Then she watches as Gabriel climbs on top of this dude and like stabs him a bunch of fucking times, but it's like weird backwards shit. Like it all looks really weird.
Like Tenet.
It looks like like Tenet.
Oh fuck! Come on, man.
But she screams herself awake, and Sydney runs in, and basically she's like, "Hey, I saw this dude kill him. I know where he is. I saw his face." Or whatever. So they go and tell the cops. And the cops are like, "Okay, we'll check." And they check, and yeah, he's dead, dead as fuck. There's a funny part.
For some reason, when they're like trying to convince them to go, Sydney's like, Keiko, you have to trust me. Like they've established some relationship or something. It's really weird.
Well, I think they kind of have like
That's like their
throughout
second time meeting, and she didn't even say that much to him the first time.
Well, their whole time they give each other little looks, like, and they establish that they're at least semi interested in each other, especially Kay. Like that is a horn dog. So they go and check out. This guy is in fact dead as fuck. So they're like, oh, that's kind of weird that you would know that, but and there's a good line. They cut back to the police station and they make a sketch of Gabriel, and she's like, "So I'm putting out a wanted poster for Sloth from the Goonies."
That shit
This
actually
is-
made me laugh. I'm not gonna lie. Shit was funny
So-
as fuck.
Madison goes to the bathroom, and when she's in the bathroom, the fucking lights start flickering, and she gets a phone call from unknown. So that's Gabriel. She answers it, and he calls her, what he called her, Emily. He's like, "Hello, Emily," and she's like, "Nah, my name's Madison." And she's
Like,
like,
why would you tell it your name?
and later in this conversation, after Gabriel tells her that her real name is Emily and that Madison's like a fake name given to her, he tells her that, or he says something, and she like says Gabriel. No, she knows his name without even telling. So like maybe she knew him. So like not worried about it. He already knows who I am. But Gabriel tells her that like everybody tried to make it seem like he wasn't real, and basically he's gonna go fucking kill some more people. She tries to tell him to stop, but he basically doesn't. He just says no and hangs up. And they dipset. And after they leave, Kay asks one of the dudes there to like age up a picture that he found in these books from Dr. Weaver, which is kind of important later. So Madison and Sydney go to their childhood home to meet with their mom, and she mentions Gabriel, and the mom kind of like freaks out a little bit, and then shows her like an old clip of Madison talking on the phone. And it's kind of freaky. It's like freaky kid shit, Kids.
I feel like if I saw that, I would just immediately check myself into a mental institution.
But it's like she says she can't remember it, so
I mean, but she's seeing it, and then also like all this strange stuff is happening. Like my immediate thought would be like, "Oh, I'm crazy. Okay, I need to I need help. I need to go check myself in." Like
she
I
is
don't
losing
want
it
to
this
be
entire
alone,
movie.
or I would not want to be alone or trying to deal with this by myself.
I like really early in the movie when she like closes the door. She's like, "This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real." Like, holy fuck, you've already like went completely nuts 15 minutes into the movie.
She sees that video of herself.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like at one point she's talking like on the phone with Gabriel, and she says like, "Don't hurt the baby," and something about the mom tells her, "If we thought we could love you so much you wouldn't need Gabriel anymore," and I guess it worked because Gabriel goes away.
But not
They love each other so much that Gabriel went
yeah,
away.
After right after this, Kay finds these flash drives in a book about Emily, and they I don't think they show anything yet, but we could see them later, so we can just skip to that part. They basically are like not like surgery footage of them like fucking with Gabriel, interrupting these flash drives that Kay goes to watch. We get Emily brushing her teeth in the bathroom, or Madison. I don't know, either one. Madison brushing her teeth in the bathroom, and she looks up in the mirror and she sees a man in the mirror, and it is the next doctor in line. That's where we're going next. It's melty time, and it melts to the bathroom. We see a man in a bathtub, and Gabriel walks out.
Keiko comes in pretty
Yeah,
soon after, I feel like.
he figures out from the tape or from the pictures and stuff in the books that this guy's the next victim. So he runs in there, and whenever he runs in there, he finds the doctor like fucked up in the bathroom. It's actually, you don't get to see a whole lot, which is it's one of the more tamed kills in the movie. And Madison's trying to tell him in her little trance state that you know Gabriel's still in the room with him, but he can't hear her. So as he's turning around, Gabriel jumps down from the fucking ceiling. There's a really cool mirror shot here where like you see Gabriel in the mirror on the ceiling behind him right before he jumps down, and then there's just a really long, weird ass chase sequence where it's just Agent K running after Gabriel, who is like jumping around like a fucking spider monkey, climbing on
Yes.
shit.
This man has no fear. Like
Some super
Zero.
mega hardcore parkour shit going on here.
he has no what's the word? He has no care
Regard
for his life. Yeah, he's no
exactly.
regard for his life. He just, I mean, you're gonna go down this dark tunnel. I'm gonna go down this dark tunnel.
You talking
You're
about
gonna do
okay?
some weird, some weird stuff and take me down this back alley. I'm gonna follow you. That's really stupid. You need to call for backup or something. Just saying.
Well, he also like fucking jumps off the fire escape onto a dumpster, and he lands so hard on that.
He was like, "Well, here goes nothing." I'm like, "He's not gonna," and then he's like, "Boom! Done. It's not worth it."
I mean,
I'd be the worst cop.
he also potato aims like a
Yeah, he
like
has
a
stormtrooper aim.
motherfucker. It's
Can't hit
embarrassing.
shit. Ain't none of the
I'm
cops
surprised-
can hit anything.
I'm surprised Gabriel just doesn't attack him and
Like
kill him right there.
How do you miss when the fucking thing you're trying to shoot goes through like a shoulder width door? It's not. It's
Just aim at the
literally.
door.
It's literally not possible. She's chasing the fucking monster through Goo Lagoon, and you know more of his sick training just comes out. He fucking goes melee for him with his Glock like it's a fucking sword, instead of shooting him. He's like, it's fucking dumb. And then the monster does some actually kind of cool parkour shit where he like fucking shoots through the floor like fast as fuck. This fool goes back to the police station, right?
I think they called the psychiatrist or whatever, the hypnotic person.
Yeah, because the next scene is the detectives in the living room telling, she's telling the detectives everything, like telling her how she was named Emily and Gabriel's from her past or whatever. And so they're like, let's get a hypnotherapist in here. So they put her under. She goes back to when she was a kid in the hospital, like the little mental facility, and she's seeing that Gabriel is doing like bad shit. But she keeps getting blamed for it, and then at home she's getting blamed by her parents. That nobody believes her that Gabriel is a thing. And
Talks her into going to cut a slice of cake, but really, she's like standing over her mom with a knife.
yeah, because we find out at this point that Gabriel can control like what she sees. He has access to her occipital lobe, and would make it to where she can basically hallucinate and think she's doing something, but she's not.
I wonder if the parents got her into therapy or something after that. I don't know how you're just like, whether she meant to or didn't mean to, be like, that's okay. Everything's fine.
Yeah, because she's sending over the pregnant mom. Gabriel has been calling her and telling her, like, we got to kill this fucking baby, blah, blah, blah. And so she goes to get the cake, and it melts. And the cake is actually her mom's pregnant stomach. And Madison, in real time, freaks the fuck out. She starts screaming and having, like, a goddamn panic attack. The therapist is able to snap her out of it. Basically, she's like, Gabriel wanted to kill this baby. The baby was Sydney. And yeah, it cuts to now the trapped woman getting free of her bondage. She cuts out of the ropes with, she gets like a fucking screwdriver or some shit. And she goes to run away, and then, like, boom, falls to the floor. And the floor she falls through is Madison's ceiling, straight into the living room where all the detectives are. And yeah, we find out that Gabriel's hideout is in her attic. And it's not looking good for Madison. Like, she gets
She's
booked.
like, I feel like earlier in the movie, she tries to be like realistic. She's like, I know this sounds crazy and blah 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 blah. And then like this happens and she's like freaking out and she's like, it was Gabriel, it wasn't me. Like nowhere in there like she was earlier where she was like rational. Does she step back and is like, okay, I know this looks bad, but
But what do you say? Like,
I mean,
you just, like, a woman just fell
being-
through your fucking ceiling.
being realistic was way better than having a, it was Gabriel, it wasn't me, it was Gabriel. Like, they already aren't believing you. At least you know,
I just don't know
be
what you say.
rational.
What do you like?
Don't.
You have known where murders have happened. Somebody killed your husband after they know he was abusive towards you, and then detectives are in your house, and a woman falls through your ceiling.
I mean, honestly, if I really thought it wasn't me, then I'd be like, all right, well, it seems fair that you need to lock me up a little bit to prove my point. Like, if I'm not sure that it wasn't me, you know?
She doesn't say anything, right? It's just like a cut to her in the interrogation room.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like at some point she freaks out and is like, it wasn't me, it wasn't me.
I think that's in the jail cell later
Oh, yeah.
on.
Yeah,
The
I don't
Aiken
remember
room,
if she
and
said, I don't remember if she even says anything in the interrogation room.
well, she says, Gabriel calls, and she's like, "It's for you," and so the detective answers it, and Gabriel is like talking on the phone. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" Ask Maddie what she used to call me, and Maddie's like, "I used to call him the devil." As this is happening, Sydney is going to the old facility to get her like files to look. And did you guys see how fucking close she rolls up on the edge of this cliff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
pretty fucking
it's a
close.
kind of a pretty place though.
I think it's a matte painting, which is really cool. But yeah, she rolls up to park on this cliff, and she gets like on the fucking edge of this cliff.
Zzz.
Dude, some shit was gonna happen in this facility, and then the fucking budget got cut, and they were like, "Yeah, she's just gonna get the shit now and then leave."
I don't think so, Doug. I think it's
It
a
wouldn't make
diversion. It
it
wouldn't
wouldn't
make
make
any
sense
sense.
for anything to happen there.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I think
So
we think that something's gonna happen, but in like
yeah, it's supposed to be
in
a diversion.
in hindsight, after watching the whole movie, it doesn't make sense for anything to happen there.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like
What do you think was supposed to
they should
happen?
have put some cool shit in there, bro.
What would they have put for it
I
to make
don't think so.
sense?
They should have put like I don't know. They should have put like I don't know, cool shit.
Like,
I think
Like
the whole point of this scene is to get you to think that something could happen, but like it's not going to because that wouldn't make any sense.
nah, bro. They should have made it like an abandoned like facility where everything went
It
wrong. You
was.
know.
It literally was.
It's okay. So where's the cool room with the stains and the fucking chainsaw, bro?
Why do we need to add 6 minutes to this movie runtime for
You're
what?
hey. Now we're getting somewhere. Now you're right. Okay, proceed. You wouldn't want to add to this movie.
That's my whole point. Is that would be pointless.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be the coolest thing in the movie.
all right, so
Okay.
That's false.
Sydney grabs the box with her sister's stuff in it and takes it back home
Yeah,
to watch it with her mom.
yeah. And they get a video of her in the hospital, and this is where you find out.
They lied.
Yeah, they always told the mom that Madison's real mom died, but you get this video of her explaining that she is giving up the baby, and then you get a video of Emily talking to the camera, and they say that Gabriel's been sedated, and now it rotates around her, and for the first time in the movie, you see on the back of her there
Lord
is
Voldemort.
Voldemort has arms sticking out of the back of her back, her shoulder blades. There's something on the back of her head.
And this is just for reference, I guess. This video is before she got adopted, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
This is actually the new Harry Potter prequel.
So Weaver explains on the video that Gabriel is a parasitic tumor or twin tumor that developed at the same time as Madison in the womb, and they got conjoined somehow, and now Gabriel is completely dependent on her body to live.
They share the same brain and spinal cord.
So they can't completely remove him. So they cut his arms off, They remove his ribs, and then they're just like, we couldn't do much else, so we just kind of like pushed him into her head and sewed her up.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And now they cut back to her in the jail cell, and these women are starting to beat her up for no reason. And one of them,
Because they're criminals.
yeah, and as they're beating her up, Gabriel comes out of her head. You see him, and
You can see it on their faces. They feel instant regret. They were like,
Yeah.
we messed with the wrong woman.
she
Because
dislocates
we're
like
criminals.
her arms and flips him backwards. And now you see why he's looked so weird the entire movie is because he's Madison backwards.
Yeah.
Everything, like the body moves backwards, and his head is on the back of her head. And he starts fucking these women up. He's just killing them left and right. One of them gets fucking like, he punches through somebody. He snaps some girl's arms.
It's fucking King Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z.
Leave no survivors.
Thrusts his arms right through. Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
and they all get killed, and then the cop rolls up, and he's like,
Before Gabriel comes out though, she does this like scream where he's like transforming out of her, and they're all just like kind of staring like, what the? That's when I would have been like, guard.
well,
hello,
one of them runs to the thing, and she's like, help, 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 and the guard runs up.
But by then, Gabriel's already out and like attacking. If she would have done that while like Madison or Emily or whatever was screaming, he might have been there earlier and been able to open the door. I don't know how much that would have done for her, but maybe.
I forgot about the guard, bro.
Because they all just sit there and they're like staring at her like, well, this is weird.
Just let me put my chest right up against the bars and stick my gun through the bars.
He gets his arm snapped, and she grabs the keys off of him and lets himself out. Gabriel lets himself. And then this is the scene we've been talking about with the gunshots. He rolls up into like the main office area, and it's like, I don't know, 10 plus cops that literally couldn't hit anything. They're all unloading and can't touch him. And Gabriel runs around and just kills them all. All pretty cool ways.
Are we gonna talk about the chair shot, bro?
Yeah, right at the end of this.
Oh my god, it's my favorite kill of the entire movie.
The detectives roll up and they start getting in a fight with Gabriel, and Gabriel overpowers them. So they go to run away, and for whatever reason, as they're running out the door, Gabriel grabs a fucking chair and yeets that hoe like 50 feet and chairs their ass.
Fucking headshot. It was fucking beautiful.
Yeah. And so then Gabriel leaves, and he's on his way to the hospital. Sydney knows that because she knows that is Emily's real mom, I suppose.
Yeah, the lady that fell from the ceiling is her real mother.
Yeah.
She's a junior detective now.
That's a good big part of the Giallo films. A lot of these Giallo films are like detectives and then normal civilians like team up to solve the mystery. So Sydney gets to the hospital, and the guard's like, hey, we can't let you through here. We can't let you through. And then he's like, oh, shit. My chest hurts. And she's like, are you good, dude? And he's like, my pacemaker's fucking burning. And she's like, what do I do? And then it just explodes. And Gabriel has power over his electricity, I guess. And
yeah,
explodes this dude's pacemaker. And he dies.
Fuck, yeah, bro.
Then they're like,
why does Gabriel have power over electricity?
It's not explained.
Oh. Okay, proceed.
So when Sydney's there and Gabriel's also there, they get into a scuffle. And Gabriel flips a bed on top of her, and picks up the gun she has, and now everybody's like, Madison's standing there watching Gabriel do this stuff, and Sydney's like trying to talk to her, like, hey, I know you're still in there, that kind of stuff. And she tells her, Gabriel was the cause of your miscarriages. He's been feeding on your babies this entire time. That's why you couldn't have a kid. He was killing them all. And I guess that's enough to get her through.
And at some point she mentions that I don't know if she mentions it to her or one of the detectives or whatever, but when her husband smashed her head against the wall, it like activated him again or something.
Yeah, and
Which is what I want to get into a little bit later after this.
getting into that, I guess if you're getting into it later, I have something cool about that too. So we'll get there. So at this point, Madison's trying to like move and shit, and Gabriel is like holding a gun to Sydney's head, and he caps her ass, pulls the trigger, blows her brains out, and then he is like, "Yep, fuck your sister, and now I'm gonna kill your mom." And he walks over to the mom and starts like smothering her with his hand, and she dies. But as she's dying, like the melty shit happens to Gabriel, and you see he's actually still holding the gun to Sydney's head. He didn't kill her, and Madison's able to control him now. And then there's a weird mind scene where like it's him in a jail in darkness. I guess it's the mind, and she
Yeah, it's like a
locks him
mind
up.
game kind of thing. Yeah.
She locks him up. It's all good. Sydney's not dead. She lifts the fucking bed off of her like superhuman strength. She's like, Gabriel's super strong. It's always been my body. I can do it too, and she does. And yeah, the movie ends with an electric buzz as we look at it's like an Inception ending. Electric buzz as we look at a light, and it cuts before we can tell if it turns on or not. So who knows if Gabriel's still active or not?
I think he's deep down. He's
So
still in there.
I'm
We won't
his
find out.
revenge.
confused. I'm confused. At what point did he go dormant? Because it mentions
It says in the movie that when her stepsister popped out that she didn't need
Yeah.
Voldemort
Once
anymore.
once she didn't need him, he
No.
went dormant. And then Sydney says he's been feeding on the babies and getting stronger, and then the head cracking against the wall is what awakened him fully.
Oh, I guess I missed that part.
And really cool, if you look at the wall, at the scene where Sydney comes in the window, she's standing and there's a really hard shadow on the wall, and inside of her shadow, the crack on the wall is Gabriel's face. And it lines up with her shadow, so like the shadow has Gabriel's face on it. And she's
Beautiful.
looking at it.
Beautiful foreshadowing.
Yeah. It's really cool. That's a really cool thing that you don't know you're looking at it until like you watch it again and you know that Gabriel's on the back of her head the whole time. Any other thoughts? Anything?
No?
Should probably take some training courses on how to not melee form when you have fucking guns.
Wonderful. I'll send him a note for you.
Maybe that'll be in part 2. All right, Jacob, you're up. Go review.
All right. My official review is going to be a 6. It's not bad.
Like, what do you?
I like it a little bit more than
Your
Once Upon a Time in
personal
Hollywood.
score is a 6.
Yeah. Personal score, did I say?
Official review.
Oh, yeah. I'm not all here today,
Whatever.
ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, my personal score is going to be a 6.
He's got the COVID brain fog.
Yeah. I liked it a little bit more than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I just really like the goriness towards the end, and I also really dig the whole like campy first act where it's just super fucking 80s comedy horror style. But I also didn't like it as much as I liked V for Vendetta, so I'm going to give it a 6. So for my movie making score, I'm going to give it a 7. I really liked a lot of the shots that
Sorry.
that James Wan used, like the over the head shot through the house that Aaron talked about earlier. I like the whole like, campiness of the first half, kind of like the 80s horror. But yeah, I thought it was a really well made movie. So not well made, but like decent. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
All right, Aaron, let it rip.
Well, I already told you I really like it. I I don't take it as seriously as I take other movies because I know it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be kind of dramatized and a little bit over dramatic and stuff like that. So I'm cool with all that. Um, I gave it an 8.5 on my personal score. I just like how fun it is. It's a little goofy sometimes. Like some of the things aren't great, and also like Doug has ranted about this whole time. Like so we would end a lot earlier if cops could shoot anything. Which I guess you don't want to shoot your main character just right off the bat, but it just kind of feels like laziness. Not laziness, but like if I was writing the movie, I'd find a way to not have that happen. But I didn't make the movie, so for my movie making score, to extend on what Jacob said, there's some really good shots in this movie. There's some really good, like James Wan knows how to set up scares, and while this movie doesn't have a bunch of scares in it, it's not really the point. It knows how to misdirect you a lot. I am a big fan of the score. I love that fucking Pixies cover. I like the normal, just main title music. That's all good. The acting, I think, while it is quote unquote bad acting, it's spot on for what it's supposed to be. So I like that's supposed to be like that, and I think they hit it right on the head. They know what they're in. They know what kind of movie they're in, and they're playing it all straightforward and being over dramatic, and I think it's good. So I gave it an 8.25 on movie. Also, I like the twist. You might have been able to figure it out, and I kind of figured it out as well. I still think it's a decent twist.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But
Brianna, let it rip.
hold on. Last thing. Why I have it an 8.25 and not higher is because I think the ending is a little unfulfilling. Like just locking him in a brain jail. Whatever. So I kind of at the end I was kind of like, I kind of wanted a bit
You didn't
more.
think it was as good as Inception, bro? Like he could get out. Bro.
Hell
You know what
no.
I'm saying?
Like I mentioned Inception and that's the same style, but Inception's ending is actually like emotionally impactful. I guess when you see Sydney get capped, it's a little like, oh shit. But then they immediately go back on it. So
Brianna, you're up. Go.
Okay. So horror is not my personal favorite. I'm not really into like
Cut that. This is Thrillers and Killers
Sorry,
podcast,
okay.
bro.
Well, I'm trying to be honest.
So Brianna is scared of scary movies. True or false?
Yes, I'm a very anxious person. So okay, here we go. This is the take. Here we go. Okay.
She's gonna be a hardened veteran in a couple months.
So, horror is not my number one style of movie just because I'm a very anxious person. So, when I know there are jump scares or like when they insinuate jump scares are coming, it makes me very anxious.
Noises.
Yeah, loud noises, like dark shots, like not really makes me very scared and anxious. I am like, that's how I am.
But also, this movie wasn't even scary, so that's a plus.
My personal score is probably going to offend some of y'all. I'm looking back, and I did Donnie Darko a 6, and I like Donnie Darko more than this movie. So I'm probably going to give this one a 4 for my personal. That's just my personal. Yeah. And then I guess to be fair, the shots were really cool. And I know people who are really into horror. Like, I don't know a lot about like some of the stuff that you were talking about with the camera work and stuff, but I have to respect the camera work and like when it kind of like pans out and like the walls are melting, that's pretty cool. And like the shot of like the abandoned whatever that was, I forget. That was really cool. So I guess the movie score would have to be.
So
Let's see. Hold on. I gave Donnie Darko a 7.5. I do kind of feel like it was shot better than Donnie Darko, though, like for the genre.
Checkmate.
So
I
I guess I'll give this one like an 8 for the movie score.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I've already covered all the stuff in this movie that's complete dog shit. So, we'll just cover the good points here, I guess. Oh shit. I don't even know if her character's name is said in the whole movie, but Regina,
The other detective.
the other detective,
Yeah.
actually made me laugh a couple times, so I'm pretty much viewing this movie as a comedy, to be honest. And then
You know what? You say that. I think that's actually fair. Like, it's supposed to be kind of goofy funny.
and then just the Voldemort reveal looked pretty cool, to be honest. And then the transitions when she's seeing what's this motherfucker's name? Craig? Gabriel. When she's seeing Gabriel kill people is actually pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I said that. I don't know if you heard me when we were on the comms yesterday of I was watching the trailer and that I said the CGI was cool when it showed
Yeah, I remember that.
that one of those scenes in the trailer. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I fucking hated this movie. It was really cringe, not scary, boring. See, am I missing anything?
I strongly disagree with boring. I think there's one thing this movie is, it's not boring.
This movie's boring, cringe.
Okay, so what's your personal score?
I'm giving some backstory here before I drop my personal score. That's how this works.
I love the fact that Brie is so just like to the fucking point.
And Brianna's got to go to bed. That's her issue.
Well, we've been talking. Like, I feel like you're just dragging it out.
Cut that. My personal score. We're gonna have to look at my previous scores here. What's my lowest score?
Fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, 3.
Oof. Okay, The Fourth Kind is a 4.75. So
And Donnie Darko is a 4, which is fucking criminal.
This movie is better than The Fourth Kind. So we'll give it a fucking 5. No.
Okay.
No. Is this movie better than Fourth Kind? I think I like Fourth Kind better. All right. I'm giving it a 3.
Straight up 3?
Straight up 3. Movie making score. Ooh. We'll give it a 4. Give me
Going
time.
exact same as...
Yeah, those movies are equally trash in my book, so...
Okay, well, I guess something to add on to mine real quick, since y'all said I was too straight to the point. One of the reasons I feel, which I know that, like Aaron is saying, this is how it's supposed to be made, but like if a movie is supposed to be realistic, I want it to be realistic. I don't want it to like blur the lines of like it's supposed to be realistic and then it's not supposed to be realistic, if that makes sense. Which is why I feel like it wasn't my style, that I don't like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's cool if it's not your style. Like, you don't like it, you don't like it. That's how it is. People don't like movies all the time.
Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me why Gabriel has like supernatural powers, but like is tied to Madison, and it's never like explained, which I don't like. Like, I feel like with with the Matrix, where it's not really explained until the later movies why Neo is the one, but like he's not the only one that has like the supernatural whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole world is based around that, basically. That we're not in like a real world. And then in this movie, it's like we are based in a real world, but then you have one thing with like supernatural powers. And it's not really explained. And then it's like, are there others out there? Like, that doesn't make sense.
I crack it up to be, so like, from what I understand about giallo films, which I'm not an expert by any means in them, but from what I've researched about them is, they are usually like hyper violent and sometimes even hypersexual. And that was, I think the hyperviolence was captured in this film. I think James Wan was just trying to put his James Wan supernatural stuff on there. I mean, he made Saw, which doesn't really have much supernatural stuff, but he's in a run now where he did Insidious and Conjuring, and those are both heavily supernatural. And I kind of think he maybe thought that that's expected of him because he is known for that kind of stuff. Or maybe he just likes it and he just wanted to throw a little bit extra in there. I get that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, at least right now. So, I could definitely see how that could run people the wrong way if you're looking at a movie that's supposed to be kind of grounded, although I would argue it's not supposed to be grounded. That's why it's so over dramatic. So, that to me, that's why it's not a huge deal that it's like supernatural out of the blue, because it's already supposed to be not realistic. So, that's where I was at with it.
Thank you for coming to our review of Malignant. Next week, we got Gone Girl. It's Brianna is going to get her first movie
Bree's
pick.
in the rotation now?
Brianna is in the rotation.
Or should I do Memento?
I think we've already selected Gone Girl.
Gone Girl it is.
You can do Memento if you want.
No,
You pick
Memento's-
right now. Go.
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl it is.
Sweet. I've never seen it.
Neither have I.
It's classified as a thriller.
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely not argue with that.
We're hey, I really work hard for you guys. I endure these movies, Malignant, movies with Ben Affleck. I'm a soldier. I've got COVID. Hey, I just keep trucking. So
Thank you for your service.
hey, we'll see you guys next week. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and MySpace, Twitter.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye bye.